Originally, when we looked at this shotgun, I thought to myself, what a neat little weapon. But since Bungie has disclosed to us that Lord of Wolves is getting a sizable nerf, this has left me scrambling for the next best thing. Because right around the corner is not just Ash and Iron, but the epic raid. And I don't know if you saw what the last raid did to me, but it put a number on your boy. So for the next week, I will be on the quest to find what can replace the meta that Bungie just literally crucified. Today, we are going to be starting with Trachinus, a brand new rapid fire slug frame. Now, I know at first glance, it looks like a primary weapon. It's not. It's a special. And matter of fact, with certain loadouts, it was on par with Mint in terms of DPS. So today, we are going to be reviewing what this weapon is capable of. So let's begin. Starting off with our perks. In our third column, we have Lead from Gold, Rimestealer, Proximity Power, Rapid Hit, Killing Wind, and Transcendent Moment. In our fourth column, we have Headstone, Precision Instruments, Chill Clip, Swashbuckler, Binary Orbits, and Encore. Now, I do want to mention, we're going to be talking about this weapon from the perspective of these traits being enhanced. I'm talking tier 3 or higher, which if you're above 400 level, you're going to get tier 4s, and if you're 450, you'll be getting guaranteed tier 5s. So I am going to be speaking from those perspectives because the enhanced versions of these perks are important. Bungie even mentioned that there's going to be a bunch of buffs being handed out to the enhanced versions of these traits. Now, taking a closer look at some of these standout perks in our third column, we've got Lead from Gold. This perk states that picking up heavy ammo also grants increased ammo to this weapon. Very, very good for ammo economy, guys. Essentially, when you pick up a heavy brick, you gain 35% of your special weapon reserves. For Trachinus, that results in 9 special ammo, which you can see here. Now, this is a great perk, not only just to alleviate ammo economy issues, but if you happen to be running double special, it's fantastic. But next up, we have the enhanced version of Rimestealer. Destroying a stasis crystal or defeating a frozen target with this weapon grants you an improved amount of frost armor. Now, this perk will provide 2 stacks of frost armor upon either killing a frozen target or destroying a stasis crystal. Now, you can imagine this paired with things like Headstone or even Chill Clip, which are found in columns 4. This gives this perk great mileage. Frost Armor is a great source of damage reduction. It plays well into our current seasonal artifact, and since the removal of resilience in the game, I'm looking for anything that can net me damage resist. Now finally, we have enhanced rapid hits. Nothing too crazy here, guys. Rapid precision hits temporarily increase stability and reload speed substantially. Now, as you see here, this is a rapid fire slug. You will get stacks of rapid hit very quick, and this does substantially increase our reload, adding plus 60, along with a slew of other buffs. Now, I think for a long time, people have leaned toward perks that actually feed ammo back into the weapon. Think things like 4 times the charm, or hell, even things like subsistence. But as someone who did do a rough DPS test the other day, its major flaw is that reload speed. And yes, there are some ways to navigate around that, of which we'll get into, but rapid hit does help with that. Now, moving on to columns 4, we really only have 3 options depending on how you plan to use this weapon. First up, you have enhanced Chill Clip, stating that direct hits with the top half of the mag cause a detonation that slows nearby targets. Now, Bungie is actually going to be buffing Chill Clip next week with Ash and Iron. They're removing the plus 5 stability. However, they added new behavior, stating that players can create slowing detonations from a lower percentage of the magazine, meaning more procs of Chill Clip and even deeper procs. Now, Chill Clip is the thing that gave weapons like Tenacious Mastery absolute meta supremacy last season. However, Trachinus sports the unnerfed version of Chill Clip. This means that while you are above 50% of your mag size, each shot you land will apply 60 slow stacks, which gives us a freeze after just 2 shots. Guys, this is incredibly powerful, both in utility and in major busting, but also in overall DPS. Now, we don't really know what the procs are going to be like below 50% of the mag after this change Bungie is making to it, but it could result in 5 or 6 shots with Chill Clip as opposed to the standard 4. Now, our next option is a bit more ad clear focus, that being enhanced Headstone. Precision Final Blows spawn a stasis crystal at a target's location. This is also a perk that's getting its enhanced plus 5 stability removed, but with added new behavior. Precision kills will always generate a large stasis crystal. Now, as you see here, when you get a kill with Headstone, you'll see a red bar enemy will spawn a small stasis crystal, with elites or higher spawning in a large stasis crystal. I love that Bungie is doing this change here to Headstone, because now you're always going to get a large stasis crystal. Now, in terms of Rimestealer, the combination between Rimestealer and Headstone is perfect. Truly 2 perks meant for each other. Now, our final perk here is Enhanced Precision Instruments, which reads that dealing sustained crit damage significantly increases precision damage. Essentially, when you land hits, it'll start to build stacks of precision instruments, which will in turn bump up your precision damage. Now this caps out at 6 stacks, which for the enhanced perk grants us a 30% crit damage buff. Now at 100 weapon stats, we can see here that a tier 4 Trachinus deals a crit damage of 683 to Coral, which jumps up to 888 with 6 stacks of precision instruments. However, there is unfortunately a big pain point with this perk on the shotgun. The base mag size of Trachinus is 7, which means without including magazine increasing perks, you're only going to get 1 shot at that full 30% buff. Even worse, throwing on enhanced backup mag only brought us up to 8 in the mag. And keep in mind, you lose all of your stacks as soon as you reload. Now we can't talk about any new weapon without including Temporal Blast. However, Temporal Blast is about to get a hell of a nerf. I'm gonna give you some numbers right now, both for you and for me, because we're gonna be directly testing this next week after Temporal Blast gets absolutely neutered. With no damage perks and a weapon stat of 100, Temporal Blast deals 872 damage to Coral. Now using enhanced Temporal Blast with Trachinus, dealing a base body shot damage to Coral will grant 2 stacks of Temporal Charge. This means that by strictly using body shots, it will take 3 shots to get a Temporal Blast ready, with the 4th shot to proc the explosion. Now a single crit on Coral here will grant us 4 stacks of Temporal Charge, with the additional shot granting Temporal Blast ready. That means in a base max size of 7, we can really only proc Temporal Blast twice with crits, or once with body shots. Even beyond that, what's even more unfortunate is perks like Chill Clip don't contribute to gaining Temporal Blast charges, which I don't know why, and they don't proc the explosions either, which is why perks like Precision Instruments is a bit better when it comes to proccing those blast procs. But let me just pump the brakes right here. Bungie is making this change literally next week. Quote, no longer gains progress on splash damage. Reduce blast damage impulse by 66%. Note, these changes in tandem on average increases shots to ready explosion by 1 to 2 trigger pulls. They also reduce damage of the blast when caused by heavy weapons dramatically more than special and primary weapons. For example, a 75% nerf when used with the crossbow or rocket, but only 23% with a rocket pulse. Let me just say, every weapon that we have reviewed has been from the basis of Temporal Blast. And I know some of you are like, Cross, you should have never reviewed it that way. You should have reviewed it as if we're gonna keep these weapons for the next 40 years. Fellas, I was sold a dream that these mods would be powerful, and for 6 months they'll rule the land. But here we are, getting a massive nerf to arguably the only reason why I'm playing with any of these weapons right now. I'm just saying, these feature weapons, these seasonal weapons, I only gave a damn about them because of Temporal Blast. So yes, these are the numbers you see for Temporal Blast and Temporal Blast procs. Be ready for all of these numbers to go down substantially next week. I actually believe Temporal Blast is going to be completely neutered, like unrecognizably so. Now I'm gonna proceed to review this weapon without crying into my microphone and talk about these origin traits and pretend like this thing is gonna be worth a damn next week. Now, the 2 origin traits you could choose from are Tenacity and Veist Stinger. First up is Tenacity, a new Edge of Fate origin trait, which is fantastic on weapons like the new rocket-assisted sidearm. Yes, we reviewed it. Check it out. It's such a good weapon. But this origin trait reads that when targets are nearby, final blows grant weapon damage, reload speed, and handling until the wielder's death. Now, each of these stacks grants a small amount of reload, small amount of handling, and a plus 0.5% damage buff. Now, this caps out at 20 stacks for an increase of 50 reload, 50 handling, and a 10% damage buff. Now our next origin trait is Veist Stinger, and it's supposed to work as follows. Damaging an enemy with this weapon has a small chance to reload the magazine and increase movement speed while aiming down sights. Bows receive faster draw speed, and swords receive faster charge rate while this perk is active. Now I say it's supposed to work like this because for some unknown reason on Trachinus, Veist Stinger is not working. Across the duration of our damage test just the other day, and through several rounds of internal testing, we could not get this perk to proc, not even once. Now, when it does proc, we should be seeing roughly a 25% mag load from reserves. But the chance for this effect occurs differently from weapon type to weapon type. For instance, it's like 2% on SMGs, 10% on linear fusions. But for Trachinus, it doesn't seem to be procking at all. So now, Bungie, you nerfed Temporal Blast, and Veist Stinger doesn't work on the shotgun. But this brings us to the one thing that I hope Bungie doesn't touch, and that is the mag perk. You see, the mag perk on this weapon, Assault Mag, is an absolute must-have. Now, some people are saying it's a bug, some people are saying it's intentional. Whatever the case, I like it. And if I like it, that means Bungie doesn't like it. Dude, I am really salty today, by the way. Can you tell? It's Thursday morning. We just came off that article read, and I am salty as right now.
Daddy, chill.
But Assault Mag is currently increasing Trachinus's fire rate by 50, up from 90 at base. Which you can see a side-by-side comparison here. This is massive, which substantially bumps up our DPS numbers. And arguably the only reason why we even give a damn about the shotgun. So Bungie, be careful. Now guys, I want to go into the DPS numbers and talk about it, but everything that we showed the other day is going to be subject to change. Yes, when we started stacking things up together, like no backup plans, Assault Mag, enhanced chill clip, temporal blast, 20 times tenacity. We even included things like Facet of Ruins and Facet of Command, which contribute to the weapon reloading itself. At Templar, Trachinus dealt a damage value of 21,943. This is just under pre-nerf Lord of Wolves and just above Mint Retrograde. It's actually insane. Granted, no backup plans is doing all of the heavy lifting here with its massive damage bump, but I just want to preface this by saying a big contributor to this is of course Temporal Blast. Now since Temporal hangs in the balance, I'm just going to give you base DPS numbers, and this is all with Assault Mag. So Precision Instrument sits at 2,103 damage per second with 5,461 total. Our Chill Clip roll comes just under that at 2,019 damage per second and 5,248 in total. Now you may be wondering, Cross, how come the other day your live testing showed Chill Clip pulling ahead? Well, that was because we were taking advantage of Facet of Ruin and Facet of Command. Facet of Ruin increases our shatter damage. Facet of Command auto reloads our weapon. And keep in mind, we're working with pre-buff Chill Clip. Chill Clip is going to be better next week. But if you happen to be rocking Chill Clip, I definitely advise you to take advantage of that increased shatter damage and things like Facet of Command, as that works so well to get the auto reloads when going for the freezes. Now, speaking of synergy, our artifact mods beautifully synergize with Trachinus. First, we have Fever and Chill, a staple for not just solar weapons, but also stasis weapons. Rapid precision hits with solar weapons grant Radiance. Rapid precision hits with the stasis weapon grants Frost Armor. This is a great way to feed into Frost Armor benefits, and considering that Trachinus is a precision-based weapon, this is not a hard thing to proc. Now, this can feed directly into Frost Renewal, which states that while you have Frost Armor, taking critical damage releases a burst that freezes nearby combatants and grants Frost Armor to you and nearby allies. Now, while Frost Renewal isn't a direct weapon mod, the ability to run Rimestealer or Fever and Chill on Trachinus allows for Frost Renewal to always be ready. And once your shields break, you'll be freezing enemies in a large radius around you. You also grant yourself Frost Armor, and you'll grant your allies Frost Armor. This mod offers an insane amount of utility for its ease of use on Trachinus. Now, we also have One with Frost, which reads that while Frost Armor is active, stasis weapons gain increased reload speed and stability. Stasis swords gain increased guard resist. This is really nice considering that the reload speed is probably the biggest hindering factor on the shotgun, especially when using Trachinus as a DPS weapon. You've got Shoulder to Shoulder, which states that dealing sustained precision damage against combatants while near 2 or more allies will grant you damage resist. This is a big buff here, guys. As long as you are within 15 meters of 2 allies and you're dealing sustained precision damage, you'll be gaining resist ×2, which is a 25% damage reduction. And then finally, the biggest one here in column 5 is Frigid Glare. This mod states that while Frost Armor is active, stasis precision final blows cause combatants to release a freezing burst. As you can see here, guys, when you land a precision kill with Trachinus while you have Frost Armor, this is going to cause the target to explode and then spread that freeze. The area which this affects is pretty generous too, debuffing targets up to 6 meters away. This is a very strong ad clear mod, and with Trachinus adds to the weapon that already is a good major buster, but into an ad buster. Now, what is the ultimate God roll on this weapon? 2 things I hope from Bungie on this. Number 1, I hope Assault Mag is not going to be adjusted on the shotgun, and number 2, I hope Veist Stinger just works. I like Tenacity. The increase in damage is nice, but if we can get Veist Stinger to work, this combination with Chill Clip would be fantastic. But we're like in this weird limbo situation where I don't really want to recommend Assault Mag because I'm worried it's going to be nerfed in the future, but it's just too good to not have on your weapon. So ideally, Assault Mag with maybe a mag perk as a swap off. In that third column, for me, the God roll would be Lead from Gold or Rimestealer in combination with Headstone or Chill Clip. Yes, Precision Instrument is all right, but I gotta see Veist Stinger get fixed, as reloading just completely kills that thing. Now, is this weapon a fantastic major buster? It is. I like it for what it is. It's got the utility of Chill Clip or even Headstone. Both of those perks are gonna get buffed. You've got Lead from Gold for its ammo economy, Rimestealer for the survivability. Could you rock things like Proximity Power? Sure, if you're building into a melee stat, but I think the utility there for stasis and being a major buster is definitely present on Trachinus. Now, what about PvP? Surprisingly, this shotgun actually felt pretty good using in PvP. Like I would say amongst all the slug shotguns, Trachinus is one of the easiest shotgun I think I have ever used when it comes to snagging those headshots. Now, does it outrange a God Roll Inquisitor with opening shots? No. And I know a lot of you pointed out the other day that Alacrity was procced. We tested it even without Alacrity, and Inquisitor still outranges Trachinus, which makes sense, because when you look at the perks here, guys, there's really nothing here that can benefit you inside of PvP. For instance, I thought maybe Swashbuckler, if I was to get a melee kill, would allow me to turn around and get a one-shot body shot with the shotgun. Turns out, no, that's not the case. About the only perk that could benefit you is maybe Killing Wind. And when I say benefit you, I mean benefit you from the perspective of a shotgun inside of PvP, which is, hey, can this thing get me a kill from immense range with little to no effort? It can get you the kill, but perk-wise, there's really not a whole lot aiding you. And to be honest, I'm actually leaning toward a high-range roll with like Accurize, Hammer Forge, in combination with Killing Wind and Headstone. And the only reason why I'm choosing Headstone is because nothing else in that final column is helping me inside of PvP. And before somebody says, what about Encore Cross? Yeah, think again. Special ammo economy inside of Crucible is brutal. Half the time when you get a kill, that was your one and only shot. At least with Headstone, when you get that kill, you'll spawn in a stasis crystal, which you can work with. Maybe you're rocking a stasis build, and you can immediately shatter right after. Now, what this shotgun does offer is being a slug option in that top column. Yes, you could use things like Chaperone, or I guess Heritage, but Inquisitor pretty much runs the energy slots. Trachinus is an alternative to that top slot. And since Aura's Neutralizer is about to get a nerf, albeit a small one, who knows? Maybe some of us might actually use Trachinus inside of PvP. Now, let me just say this is definitely more of a PvE weapon than a PvP. I was just more pleasantly surprised about its ability to land headshots. And I think that purely just comes down to gun design. Maybe it's the feel of the weapon. I just found that it was very easy to use inside of PvP, despite its range not being as good as things like Inquisitor. So guys, that is our review for Trachinus. Let me know in the comments below. Again, tier 5 versions of this weapon are dropping. There is also a holofoil version of it. Yes, you can get the tier 5 holofoil, which is the rarest of the rare. Good luck, fellas and ladies. Thank you all for coming and watching. And as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.